Welcome back, horror friends, to High on Horror, your weekly dose of blood, guts, and the occasional questionable life advice. I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to all the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
Today we're heading back to Camp Crystal Lake circa 1982, where disco was dying, 3D glasses were all the rage, and Jason Voorhees finally found his iconic hockey mask. We're diving into Friday the 13th Part 3, the sequel that said, sure, let's make machete kills jump out of the screen. What could possibly go wrong? Spoiler, everything in the best way.
And the best part, we got a special guest joining us today, David Katims himself, who played Chuck, the laid-back stoner who somehow survived way longer than logic or common sense should have allowed. We'll talk all things Part 3, the kills, the camp, and what it was really like filming one of the most delightfully absurd entries in the franchise's history.
So grab your 3D glasses, spark one up in honor of Chuck, and watch your back at the lake. Let's get into it. Today on
High on Horror.
Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one.
Alright, ghouls and goblins, it's time for Strain Wreck, the part of our show where we talk about what strain we're getting wrecked on, and just like Jason, this week keeps coming back for another round.
Yeah, let's be real, this strain is so potent it could probably take down a final girl, or at least make her too chill to run from a guy in a hockey mask.
And the strain we're smoking today is Ghost OG, and we'll get into a little bit about why we're smoking that later. But Drew, why don't you give us some current events? And actually, I know I just threw it over to you, but I'm going to cut you off. I forgot last week real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
We talked about the Halloween game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw the news like that day we were recording. I was like, don't forget to bring it up. Nick Castle's doing motion capture for the game.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I saw that. I saw he was wearing like the white suit with the bulbs on it and shit. I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that last week, but that seems pretty awesome.
So get this, speaking of Halloween, actually, Bloody Disgusting dropped the news that Australia's Imprint Films, they're a really cool, really good high-end physical media brand, they're going full-on go big or go home with Halloween 1 through 5, 4K, and Blu-ray Steelbook collection. And honestly, man, it's fucking wild. Like, picture this. A massive custom jack-o'-lantern case, the pumpkin from the first film, LED flicker light in it and all, packed with 13 discs covering Halloween through Halloween 5. It even comes with new essays from Andrew Grivas. I don't really know who that is, but it's apparently the guy behind Horror in Haddonfield, The Untold Stories of Halloween.
Yeah,
I have not read that. But it sounds awesome, right? I mean, until you see the fucking price tag. This beast is going to set you back a painful $326.95, and that's if you find it at a good retailer. And to make matters worse, there's still no TV cut of Halloween 3, in which there's supposed to be 2 of them, which is a total bummer for completists, you know? It's flashy and it's cool, but it's going to make your wallet bleed out faster than a babysitter on October 31st, you know? And I'm good with my Scream Factory 4K editions.
Why? So what? Like, how nice is this pumpkin?
You're just paying for the packaging. That's what I'm saying. It's
like, is it huge or like?
It holds 5 steelbooks.
I mean, I guess that is. But I mean, you say that, and it could just be it just slides into like slots in the pumpkin.
Yeah,
slide
I mean,
in slots.
It has like a slots thing in the back. It's called a library case. And,
sometimes they make stuff. It's double sided for the slots.
But the thing is that the series is longer than one. Motherfucker. Anyway, back on track. Though I'm not interested in just 1 through 5. I didn't even really care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm only interested in really 1 and 2 if it was going to be a collection. It's like, there's still like, I still want 6. I still want H2O. I still want Resurrection. I don't want to have to like buy them separately. So I'm not like, I don't want to just buy 1 through 5 in this nice edition and then have the rest separately. It doesn't make sense. For that price tag and that box set, it should have been the whole series.
Yeah, like, I mean, just give me the whole set.
Yeah.
I got 3 movies in there I can use as coasters. So.
Rob Zombie Halloween, Rob Zombie Halloween 2, and Halloween Kills. Correct.
Ends.
Halloween Ends. Oh, fuck, yeah, that's right. Halloween Ends, yeah.
I mean, I could probably make an argument. See, like, I would say...
Kills is good enough to save.
I was going to say, I could make an argument for 6 or the producer's cut, but they're just so bad in a fun way.
That's, yeah, all those movies are. For the ones that are bad in the worst way, just like this movie we're talking about today.
Yeah, but, I think I'll be passing on that.
Well, can you believe that The Descent turns 20 years old this year?
Yeah, I saw that the poster artwork for it. It looks fucking sick.
Yeah, 2 decades later, man, and it's still without a question one of the greatest horror movies ever made. It's easily in my top 10 of all time. I've turned so many friends onto this over the years, and even my wife, who's picky about horror, she calls it one of the best ever. That's when you know a film's got real staying power. You know, like that's like when your wife likes a movie, you're like, see, this one has something where even people who aren't horror fans necessarily are into this. Like, they like it.
After you showed it to me, I showed it to Nicole, and I've brought it up before, and she doesn't even like really remember it. Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Yeah, I remember. It was okay." I was like, I feel like I fit somewhere between both of you. Like, I really do enjoy it. Maybe I need to watch it again, but I don't have it like high up in my
I love it,
list.
man.
I'll have to watch it again.
Well, to celebrate the anniversary, Lionsgate teased a limited edition steelbook release. You can even pre-order the official novelization dropping this October. So they're doing a novelization. That's a hard word to say. A novelization this October, which is cool. You know, that's just the chef's kiss for fans like me. And but let's be real, man. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw The Descent 2, but it was not great. And
I've heard not good things.
Yeah, here's where it gets exciting, though. In an interview with Bloody Disgusting, Neil Marshall has hinted that a prequel could actually happen with him behind it. He said, "I can definitely see it happening," end quote, and even talked about exploring what happened to the miners who first went down into those caves. Imagine a deep dive into the origin story of the crawlers. Yeah, but no, seriously, imagine a deep dive into the origin of the crawlers. You know, that could be insane if done right, you know, and
if done right.
If done right, yeah, and if they recapture even half of what made the original so claustrophobic, brutal, and emotionally raw, we could finally have a worthy follow-up. So here's to hoping the 20th anniversary sparks that fire. But yeah, I will say that you know, with him behind it, I think that it has a chance. And even though the second one's not that great, you don't ever really even hear about it. It's one of those ones that when people talk about The Descent, the sequel hardly comes into the conversation.
It's like American Psycho.
Yeah.
American Psycho 2, even though it was never meant to be a sequel, it was through the name on it.
Mila Kunis, Jackie from that 70s show took over.
Damn, Jackie, I can't control the weather. But
that's all I got.
Yeah,
so
that's all.
Let's talk about the
Ghost OG, it's a hybrid.
Is it my hit?
Sure.
All right, cool.
It's a hybrid indica dominant, approximately 18 to 22% THC. The positive effects are relaxed, sleepy, and tingly. Man, the fucking cottonmouth caught up with me there. I got all squeaky at the end. Negative effects: dry mouth, dry eyes, and headache.
Dry eyes.
The flavor profile is earthy, piney, and citrus.
Citrus comes up so much,
right? And some of the reviews I saw said good thing, or it said good. This is Jesus Christ. Good. Okay. No. This is this guy's review. I'm trying to word it right because it said good. This is it. I could finally say after 23 years of smoking, I'm 39. So you do the math. So 16. But my goodness, that Ghost OG hits you super fast. I mean, after like 3 good hits, I was actually getting stoned within no joke, 3 minutes at most, and felt a strong head high that after smoking the rest of the joint, which I put about 1.25 grams, and for the first time I actually had to tap out because it was that strong. And he threw in an emoji of like a flexing arm. And I buy 2 ounces a month. I live in New York City where there are dispensaries everywhere, so I've tried tons of weed. I smoke, I vape, and I can honestly say I finally found the best strain. What a powerhouse. I highly recommend it. And another person said took a couple dabs of this and was lifted to the max. It felt like I was just a kid again getting super high with my friends. Definitely not for rookie smokers. I tripped actual ball sacks. Actual ball sacks.
Actual, okay.
It's funny because I actually saw another review when I was scanning through them. That how this guy's saying it's not for rookie smokers.
Okay.
This other person I wrote said it's very user friendly, and I said I've never heard that applied to weed.
No,
this is very user friendly. What does that even mean?
To be fair, I never heard of tripping over ball sacks either. So
I mean, I've heard tripping balls.
I feel like I'm going to be using tripping ball sacks over ball sacks for a while now. That's my new one.
So why OG Ghost OG pairs perfectly with Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yeah, tell us.
It's an indica-dominant hybrid known for its relaxant and calming effects, making it ideal for a slasher film marathon. Its earthy and piney flavors give you the sensation of being out in the woods at Higgins Haven, which is perfect for Friday the 13th Part 3 vibe. The subtle citrus undertones keep your mind engaged, while the relaxant high helps you sink in to the suspense, letting you really feel like you're right there in the creepy forest with the campers.
All right.
So, all right, let's get into Puff Puff Ask. It's been a while since we've had one of these.
It has.
Yo, man. Puff, puff, pass.
It's time for our fan mail segment, Puff Puff Ask, where we light up, dig into your questions, and share some horror love with our listeners. This one is from Screaming Kitten 87. She asked, "Hey, High on Horror crew, big fan here. Thank you. If you had to survive a night in any horror movie universe, which one would you pick, and which one would you definitely avoid? Asking for a friend." Okay, it's me. All right, Screaming Kitten 87, thank you for the question. This one stood out to me because of what my answer would be. I feel like it fit this episode, and I think you'd like this too, John. My answer is that I think I would survive a Friday the 13th movie. I think I would survive the Friday the 13th series because I wouldn't be found in Manhattan, Crystal Lake, or space. And I'm certainly not doing drugs, and I'm not fucking if I do go to those places. The series that I'd avoid is anything paranormal, the Conjuring universe. I'd like to think I'm much more likely to die from a heart attack from something scaring me than someone butchering me. Call me optimistic.
Okay, so if we're going to cheat and come up with an easy one, I'm going to just say Halloween. I won't ever be around Haddonfield because it doesn't exist.
There you go. Because it doesn't exist, okay?
Haddonfield,
Fair
New
enough.
Jersey exists. I've been there several
But you can
times.
just say, just stay out of it. It can say it exists, but you'll just stay away from it. But you're just like, it don't even exist. Like, you totally erased the whole the
Now,
aura.
I had way more answers for which I would avoid. And some of them range from absurd to a Serbian film.
I like how you led into that absurd from a Serbian film. Oh, man.
But if we're going for like more traditional, I was thinking like Martyrs. That'd be terrible to be involved in.
Oh, yeah.
If I was thinking of like franchises, since we're doing Friday the 13th, I was thinking of franchise. Hellraiser, man. I would not want to be a part of that.
So you'd survive Hellraiser, or you survive Halloween,
I just
but
wanna-
wouldn't survive Hellraiser. I mean, I don't think anybody would survive Hellraiser.
No, I don't
That's
think
a good
anybody
one.
would survive Hellraiser. Okay, so yeah, let's get into the next one from my friend Courtney.
Okay.
With all the public domain Mickey, Popeye, and Winnie the Pooh movies coming out, which character would you like to see in a horror film?
Oh, I like that one.
All right, I'm not good with what's going in the public domain and not, but I was thinking like DuckTales with Scrooge McDuck and his nephews. Like if you turn that into a horror, like somebody's targeting him because he's rich and they want his money and they want to destroy his family. Like maybe he has some like deep dark secrets he doesn't want released.
Oh, shit, okay.
But yeah,
Damn.
and plus I love the DuckTales theme
I
song.
love DuckTales, man. I
But,
love DuckTales.
Yeah, I think that's all I got. That was off the top of my head.
That's a good one. It's a tough question. I don't know about characters that are public domain either. I agree. That's tough. I'd have to look up a list of what's there. But going off the top of my head, I know it's not public domain, but I'd like to see a Captain Underpants horror movie. Could you
Okay.
imagine like a grown-ass Captain Underpants like killing people in his tighty whities? Like he got older and realized he's not a real hero and becomes a killer. I think I'd also like to see a Marvin the Martian movie as like a serious badass. I always loved Marvin the Martian. Nobody ever gives him any love.
And it's supposed to be kids horror, but to see it played as a straight up horror, what about like Scooby Doo? Like that was played as like a straight up horror.
Or what about Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like, that'd be like they did like the Haunted Mask as like an R-rated movie or something. Whew, would be awesome. All right, well, before we go on and on and on like we tend to do, let's hop in the hearse and take a joyride down to the blood-soaked back roads of horror history.
This week in horror history.
All right, welcome to Horror History, the segment where we dig into the birthdays, deaths, and anniversaries of your favorite horror films and the legends behind them. So we're going to start here today, September 3rd. For birthdays, we got, I can never say his name, Costas I want to call him Mandalore, but I know.
I think that's right.
Really? Because I say Mandalore and I think of like Mandalorian. He was born in 1965, so 60 years ago. Saw 3 through Saw 7, right?
That's 6.
Yeah, but
Right.
no, I think he was in 7, right? He was
I
in
don't-
the final
honestly, I
chapter.
don't-
The final chapter 7, right? Yeah.
I'm not the right person to ask. I really
yeah, that
haven't
is
watched
true.
the Saw movies like that.
Well,
I stopped. Well, I watched
what-
them, but I owned like 1 through 5 and then just quit and saw the rest once.
And Dino Croc as well, also born 60 years ago today. Charlie Sheen. He was in Scary Movie 3 and 4. I don't know if we should really count that too much. And
But it's Charlie Sheen.
that's Charlie Sheen. And Daniel Myrick, born 62 years ago, Blair Witch Project, the director.
Wow. 62, okay.
Yeah, born in 1963. And film anniversaries, we have Martyrs, 2008, so 17 years ago. And celebrating its 15th anniversary, Machete.
Dude, Martyrs and Machete are both awesome fucking movies. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good films.
from 2010. And then getting into September 4th here for birthdays, we have Wes Bentley turning 47, born 1978, American Horror Story, Underworld Awakening, and one I always try to watch every Christmas Eve. Nicole just shakes her head. I love P2. Feel like
me
it's
too.
underrated.
Me too.
And born 68 years ago, 1957, Patricia Tallman in the Night of the Living Dead remake and Army of Darkness. Michael Berryman, born 82 years ago.
Oh, wow, he's awesome, man.
Yeah, we got to meet him at Monster Mania. That was
Yeah,
pretty cool at the VIP.
That's what I was gonna say.
We're
Yeah,
very special.
that was that night we went the Child's Play cast, and he
Yeah.
was there, and we went up to him, and
yeah, he was just
took a
out. He was
picture
pretty
with
cool.
us.
He was just hanging out with everybody.
he was. Yeah, I almost wanted to ask him for an autograph, but I was like, no, that's not for. This
Yeah,
time,
he's
you know?
here this weekend to be doing that for money.
Yeah,
But obviously, From the Hills Have Eyes, Devil's Rejects, and Dick York, Bewitched, and he's in one of my all-time favorite Twilight Zone episodes, A Penny for Your Thoughts. He would have been 97. And film anniversaries, I just had to throw this in there just because of the title. 73rd anniversary for Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn Gorilla, 1952. Getting into September 5th here for birthdays, born 52 years ago, 1973, Rose McGowan. Obviously from Scream and Grindhouse from Planet Terror. Michael Keaton, 74 years old, for Beetlejuice, born 1951.
he's still kicking too, doing some good stuff, man. He's out there. He's being active. You know, he's done Batman again. He's done Beetlejuice again. You know, he's done Birdman. He's doing pretty good, man.
You love
he was in
Birdman.
Spider-Man. No, I hated Birdman.
But it's funny because he was mostly like a comedic actor, and then that's why people criticized him in '89 for being hired for Batman, and he kind of started doing more serious roles, and then
Yeah, he was in Desperate Measures, that movie where he played a criminal in a prison, and he was badass in that movie. He was a bad guy.
he kind of started working more kind of towards like some more comedic roles. Dude, he's hilarious in The Other Guys.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
And moving along here, Scott Renier from Dawn of the Dead, born 77 years ago, 1948. 79 years ago, Dennis Dugan was in The Howling, later became a director, directed like Happy Gilmore,
Yeah.
Big Daddy, did some Adam Sandler projects. He's hilarious in Big Daddy. When he's
Yeah,
the
he is,
guy
yeah.
and he doesn't celebrate Halloween, he's like giving his watch. And getting on here to Werner Herzog. Werner Herzog.
The king of documentaries.
Yeah. And Nosferatu, 1979, born 83 years ago, 1942. And Raquel Welch, born 1940, Fantastic Voyage, 1 million years BC. And some film anniversaries, celebrating a 78th anniversary, Dark Passage from 1947. The Bride of Dracula from 1960 turns 65. Vampire Queen from 2002 turns 23. Celebrating 20th anniversary, Blade of the Vampire 2005. And I already hear you laughing because you just saw it.
I just saw the
You
note.
just saw it. I had to include it. I saw it in my
I
research.
knew you were going to say you had to include it too.
Celebrated a 19th anniversary, Kinky Kong from 2006. Maybe, hey, next year, 20th anniversary, we get some of the cast on.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
All right. With that said, I think it's time to move on to September 6th. Celebrating birthdays. Naomi Harris, born 1976, from 28 Days Later, turning 49. Justin Whalen from Child's Play 3 turns 51. Betsy Russell, another Saw alumni, plays Jill Kramer born 62 years ago in 1963. Tommy Lee Wallace, born 1949, turned 76 from Halloween 3, the vampire sequel that really nobody watches. The It miniseries, which also turns 35 this year. And he played the Shape in the closet scene in the original Halloween, the OG one.
Mm-hmm.
And Max Schreck would have been, played Count Orlok, would have been 146 years old today.
Another Nosferatu mention.
Yeah. Film anniversaries.
Different films, though, but...
Turning 97, The Terror from 1928.
Oh, shit.
Was running a little low on some other films to use here, but Swim Fan 2002
Swim Fan is ass water.
turned 23 and celebrated a 20th anniversary. We might have topped it. Hellraiser Hellworld 2005.
Speaking of ass water.
Yeah. So we'll just, once again, we're just ending weird or just terrible. So moving on to the 7th. For birthdays, Devin Sawa turns 47, born in 1978.
He's still killing it too, man. Child's Play series, you know.
Child's Play series.
Hard Eyes, a bunch of other shit. He's killing it. He's out there. Played Stan in the original Eminem music video.
Yeah. I always forget about
that.
Most known for probably Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
And Shannon Elizabeth turns 52, born 1973. Did remakes of 13 Ghosts and Night of the Demons and Scary Movie. I'd say she's probably most known for American Pie, though.
Yeah, of course.
Angie Everhart, born 1969, turns 56. Bigfoot and Bordello of Blood. Doug Bradley, who we've both met. One of the nicest people at a convention.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a handler. He's just sitting at a table by himself. He takes the money from you. Mm-hmm. He loves to talk to people, too. Like, I had 4 people ahead of me in his line, and I waited probably about a half hour because he just takes his time and just talks with everybody.
Talks you up. So I have, I when I went to Monster Mania with my wife, we were getting in the elevator, like an hour after I'd met him, we got in the elevator to go up to our room, and he and his wife / agent, Doug, his wife, they like come on the elevator with us, and it was just the 4 of us. So we're like chatting it up and laughing, and this person went to get on the elevator, and they like stopped because they saw how many people were on the elevator, and they were like, "No, I'll take the next one." So the doors started closing, and then they realized that the other people in the elevator were Doug Bradley and his wife, and they like tried to jump in and throw their arm in the elevator to open the doors, and the doors had no bumpers, so they just like cramped on his arm, and he went and pulled his arm out, and the door shut, and we all just started
Halloween
laughing.
On it.
Yeah, so I'll just remember, like, you know, I always have that like little moment behind the scenes with Doug. That was pretty cool.
See, I always said Halloween 2 was unrealistic when Michael put his hand in the door, but I guess not.
Dude, it was like some
if it was that elevator
shit. I was like, oh my god, if the elevator starts moving and he loses an arm, this is gonna be wild.
Doug Bradley celebrated his 71st birthday. Also celebrating his 71st birthday, Corbin Benson from The Dentist.
Oh, shit.
Also, one of my favorite roles of his is Roger Dorn from the Major League series. Never
seen it.
He plays a prima donna third baseman that doesn't want to do anything, and he's just an asshole to everybody else on the team. Well. I'll have to get you to watch those someday. Dario Argento, born 1940, 85 years ago.
He was in the hospital like 2 weeks ago for like respiratory issues. And people were worried, but supposedly, you know, haven't heard anything bad. He's pulled through, so thank God, because we don't need to lose another one. Yeah. And
Ed Warren, born 99 years ago, famous demonologist, investigated the Amityville Horror, Enfield Poltergeist, Conjuring series based around him and his wife Elizabeth. And film anniversaries. When I was writing this up, I told Nicole, and she just shook her head. I said the classic. Celebrating 35 years, Slumber Party Massacre 3.
The classic.
The classic. And 19th anniversary next year, 20th. Hatchet from 2006.
Shit, dude.
And moving on to the 8th. You know what? I always feel like all these, when you get towards the end of the week for me, they kind of trail off because I'm like, I've put so many people in this. I can't just keep filling this list. It's going to be a half-hour segment if I include everybody. Yeah. And the problem is I don't even remember who I included the last time we've done these. I probably just keep skipping over the same people. But getting on to September 8th here for birthdays. Gannon Matarazzo from Stranger Things turns 23, born 2002. And former WCW champion David Arquette turns 54. Scream, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Eight-Legged Freaks. I don't know why I struggled so bad with that one. Film anniversary, turning 54, A Bay of Blood / Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Oh, yeah. Good job.
1971. And getting on to September 9th here for birthdays, we have Michelle Williams celebrating 45 years. Halloween H2O, Species, Shutter Island. And Jeffrey Combs, born 1954, turning 71, From Beyond, obviously Reanimator. And notable horror figures that died. Burgess Meredith, the Sentinel.
I'll say, don't forget to mention the Sentinel, brother.
Yeah,
that movie's awesome. He's
dude,
great
it was
in that
funny
movie.
when I was trying to remember the Sentinel, and I was like, I just couldn't think of the name. It bothered me, and I refused to look it up because I was like, I know this. It took me unfortunately 10 minutes to remember the Sentinel. Rocky, and he's in my favorite Twilight Zone episode. Obsolete Man was born. He died on September 9th.
Gotta be funny with it.
Yeah, clearing it up. He died, unfortunately, in 1997. So, and film anniversary, celebrating 20 years, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, nice. I remember I told you that there's certain times, certain things stick out to you that you didn't realize. Like you've seen things so many times, or it's been around so long that you just kind of are like a little I'm not gonna say stagnant, but you're used to it. Yeah. And The Exorcism of Emily Rose is one where somebody pointed out to me that Halloween was a home invasion movie. And I remember thinking, damn, I never looked at it like that, but holy shit, it is. And ever since, it changed my perspective, right? And that was years ago. But I remember I actually was proud of myself for pointing out, I'm like, nobody ever points out how The Exorcism of Emily Rose is actually a Halloween movie, because her possession or her exorcism takes place on Halloween in that barn scene, which is the scariest fucking scene in the movie, So I love to throw that baby on, every Halloween. But yeah, it's definitely one I try to throw on every Halloween and try to throw out there for people to remember. If you're looking for a time to watch it, or it's been a while since you've seen it, Halloween's coming up. No better time to watch some fucked up shit like that.
I also feel like that was one of those movies that I watched so much. I saw it in theaters and then got it on DVD and just watched it so much that I kind of just got burnt out of it for a while.
Same, totally.
But yeah, I've been watching it. I've been trying to watch it around Halloween each year.
Same. Well, the body count is rising, the campers are screaming, and the 3D is so bad it's good. Let's dive into our review of Friday the 13th, Part 3.
All right, Friday the 13th, Part 3 came out in 1982, and it's the third movie in the franchise, directed by Steve Miner and starring Dana Kimmel, Paul Kratka, and Richard Brooker. It picks up right after Part 2. Chris Higgins, Dana Kimball head back to their old home near Crystal Lake with their friends for a summer trip. Totally unaware, Jason Voorhees, played by Richard Brooker, is beat up but still terrifying. And he's in nearby, ready to go on another brutal spree. And this is also the movie where Jason gets his iconic hockey mask, instantly turning him into a creepy guy in the woods with a horror legend. The movie was originally going to focus on Jenny Field, Amy Steele from the last film. One early idea was to have her locked up in a psychiatric hospital after the trauma of Part 2, only for Jason to track her down and start murdering everyone there. Another concept had Jenny learning self-defense, returning to college, and finding Paul Holt's corpse, and teaming up with Ted Bowen to hunt down Jason for one final showdown. Amy Steele passed on the role because of other projects, which forced major changes to the script. She later said, "They really wanted me for Part 3. They didn't have a script, but they were just going to show me some sort of outline. Then my agents got involved, and I don't know if it was a money issue or a script issue, but I didn't do it." Screenwriter Ron Kurtz, who wrote Part 2, was offered the job but turned it down. Instead, Martin Kitrosser, who had worked behind the scenes on the first two films, co-wrote the script with Carol Watson. Paramount later brought in Petro Popescu to make the story darker and more menacing, though he went uncredited. Mm-hmm. When the movie hit theaters in August 13th, 1982, it was a 3D event in select theaters. The only Friday the 13th movie to get that treatment. It was supposed to wrap up the trilogy, but they didn't even put final in the title.
Right.
On a $2.2 million budget, it grossed $36.7 million in the U.S., even knocking E.T. off the top spot for a little while. Critics weren't impressed, but audiences didn't care. They were hyped. About 11.76 million tickets were sold, making it the third most watched film in the franchise. 2 years later, Friday the 13th, the final chapter continues. One of the biggest changes in part 3 was giving Jason a mask. In part 2, he wore a bag over his head, but the hockey mask became his signature look and turned him into an instantly recognizable figure in pop culture and a lasting horror icon.
Yeah, and the hockey mask really changed everything, didn't it? It's wild to think that what started as kind of a random practical choice, just grabbing the Red Wings goalie mask from the 3D supervisor, ended up cementing Jason as a pop culture giant. And the fact that part 3 knocked E.T. off the box office throne, even briefly, says a lot about how hungry audiences were for this kind of horror at the time. You know, knocking E.T. from that spot, even for a short time, showed that horror had mainstream power in the early 80s. The 3D gimmick might feel dated now, you know, but at the time it was a major draw, helping drive those 11.76 million tickets sold. Critics might have rolled their eyes, but honestly, who gives a fuck? The movie gives fans exactly what they wanted. More creative kills, more intensity, and a villain who finally had a face, or, well, a mask that was as iconic as his machete. Looking back, it's no surprise that part 3 is still considered one of the most cornerstones of the franchise.
And so getting into the movie itself here, after part 2, we pick back up with Jason. First stop is a lakefront store for new clothes, where he murders the owner Harold, played by Steve Susskind, and his wife Edna, played by Sherry Mulgans.
Did not like her character, man. Did not like Edna.
No, nobody does. Classic Jason, just showing up uninvited, wrecking everyone's day like it's no big deal. And meanwhile, Claire Higgins, played by Dana Kimmel, heads back to Higgins Haven on Crystal Lake with her friends for a summer trip. The crew is a mixed bag. We got pregnant Debbie, played by Tracy Savage, her boyfriend Andy, played by Jeffrey Rogers, prankster Shelley, played by Larry Zerner, Shelley's blind date Vera, played by Catherine Parks, and stoners Chuck, played by today's guest David Katims, and Chili, played by Rachel Howard. They run into Abel, who's played by David Wiley, who warns them to turn back, but of course nobody listens. Chris's boyfriend Rick, played by Paul Kraka, joins them at the cabin, and he turned down Mary Jo Conrad. And from the sounds of it, we need to see her.
I was going to say that, yes.
Because even Chris, the girl, you know, his girlfriend, she even says the Mary Jo Conrad. So, like, I mean, we need to see what Mary Jo Conrad's working with.
Well, that should be a fan film.
You know what's funny is rewatching it. I mean, we've watched it a million times, but plus it was an excuse to get to watch it. I threw it on. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, that was the first thing I wrote in my notes. I was like, I got to bring up Mary Jo Conrad. Because, I mean, she sounds awesome. Yeah,
right?
Things immediately go sideways at a convenience store. Shelley and Vera run into bikers. Allie played by Nick Savage, Fox played by Gloria Charles, and Loco played by Kevin O'Brien. Shelley jumps in a car, knocks down their motorcycles. Vera's impressed, Shelley's smugged, and the bikers are pissed. Then we get some terrible, like it's funny, like, when you don't watch it in 3D, if you know about the old 3D technology, you can just see every scene. It's so emphasized.
Yeah.
It's so emphasized, like that punch into the glass where it just, like, holds his hand there.
Yeah, yep.
Later, the bikers show up at Higgins Haven trying to siphon gas and torch the barn. Jason's hiding inside. He kills Fox and Loco with pitchforks. Then he beats Allie senseless. It's brutal and over top in the best way. That's like one when you just hear that, like,
that melon slicing, yeah.
That melon slicing. That night, Chris and Rick wander into the woods. Chris opens up about being attacked 2 years ago by a deformed guy. Spoiler, it's Jason. And that's why she left Crystal Lake in the first place, and why coming back feels like a bad idea, even though she's trying to face her fears. Back at the house, Shelley, rejected by Vera, tries to scare her with a hockey mask, not realizing Jason's about to make it his signature look forever. Chaos hits full on. Vera goes for Shelley's wallet under a dock, and Jason shoots her in the eye with a spear gun. And that's got to be one of the more memorable kills in the entire franchise.
That's the scene that's shown every time.
Yeah, it's always the scene it's showed from.
Yeah.
Well, there's another
Rightfully
scene.
so. It's a fucking good kill, man. That was fucking awesome.
And Andy, played by Jeffrey Rogers, doing a handstand, gets sliced by Jason's machete.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie, played by Tracy Savage, finishes her shower and relaxes in a hammock, where Jason stabs her through the chest from below.
Knowledge Nug, she's reading an article about Godzilla in Fangoria when that shit happens.
I was going to bring that up later.
Go Godzilla.
I was going to bring that up later. I noticed the Godzilla. That was one of my other notes. I said, oh, Godzilla's in this. Poor Chuck. David Katims heads down to the basement during a blackout, and he gets electrocuted in the fuse box. Chili, played by Rachel Howard, finds Shelley bleeding out, thinks it's a joke at first, and then Jason skewers her with a fire poker. Yeah, and at least David got some... Chuck. At least he got some popcorn before he had to go.
Right.
My
thing is...
That had to burn.
but my thing is...
My man's catching it right out the pot.
You're fucking cooked. You're baked out of your mind in the woods in like a cabin. You're not trying to have to deal with power outages. So his high was already getting killed. He didn't need to actually get killed. Like, my man's high he went from chilling to, like, dying.
And Rick's car breaks down, so he and Chris have to walk back to the house only to find it completely trashed. Jason grabs Rick, crushes his skull, pops one eye out for 3D, and goes after Chris.
Pops one eye out for 3D. Good. That was nice.
She barely escapes in the van, but the gas runs out and the wheel collapses through the bridge. She dives into the barn to hide, but Jason is relentless. Chris swings a shovel, hangs him, finally sees the guy who attacked her 2 years ago. Jason shakes off the noose, tries to attack again, but Chris nails him with an axe. Exhausted, terrified, she pushes a canoe out to the lake and finally passes out. Of course, one last nightmare hits. Unmasked Jason runs at her, and then Pamela Voorhees rises from the lake, looking all decomposed, trying to drag her under. Morning comes, cops show up, and a traumatized Chris is escorted from Higgins Haven. Jason's body still in the barn. Lake calm as ever, like he's just waiting for the next fools to show up.
Well, I can't start at my review without mentioning the theme first. The theme to this movie, let's be honest, it's club music. I always bring that
I
shit
love
up,
it.
man. It's club music.
I was listening on the way over here. I was playing the soundtrack.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like,
It's one of the Friday the 13th entries.
You have that little...
I wouldn't even say one of. I will say all the Friday the 13th kind of have like a distinct opening.
Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare on Elm Street series had the best music, like in the openings of their movies and just in general. But this, this opening theme, like I said, it's club music, and it's definitely one where when people throw Halloween parties and they're like, "What's a good Halloween song?" I'm like, "Dude, you got to put on the." People don't even know. They'll be like, "Bob, what the hell's this?" And it's like, people, it's just people need to use that more. That's all I'm saying. It needs to be more in Halloween parties and just used in general at the club. But anyway, Friday the 13th Part 3 isn't just one of my favorite entries in the franchise. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I grew up with this film like you did. I remember watching it with my mom when I was younger, then later with my friends, passing around beers and lighting up and laughing through the kills while still genuinely jumping at the scares, And now I get to sit and watch it with my oldest son. And that right there makes it more than just a movie for me. It's a generational tradition, a staple of horror history, whether it's the so-called horror snobs want to admit it or not. And this one has everything that makes a Friday the 13th film so iconic. I mean, it's 12 solid kills, plenty of tension, some unintentionally hilarious moments, and of course, the best kill in the film, the harpoon gun scene. But I gotta mention when Jason chops Andy's taint. Absolute chef's kiss. I had to mention a taint chop in there. The whole movie is this perfect cocktail of intensity, camp, and fun. It's scary, it's funny, and it's bad in like all the most lovable ways.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to watch it in 3D with those cheap cardboard glasses as a kid, and did it work? Not really. Did it give me a headache? Oh, yeah. But the funny, funky disco theme and the movie itself just, stuck with me way longer than the 3D gimmick ever could. So, yeah.
Disco was dying, but don't tell that to Jason.
Harry Manfredini killed it with that theme, But for me, Part 3 is comfort horror. It's the kind of movie that feels like home. No matter how many times I revisit it, it's perfect. And that's the best part of the charm. It's earned its place in my heart alongside the rest of the franchise, even the bad ones. My final verdict is 8.5 out of 10 and an eternal spot in my horror-loving soul.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it was funny because I was going to start my reviewing because I already know you love it. I was going to say you just like it because Godzilla's in it. I was going to say that's why it's one of your favorites. Fans of the show know Jason Lives is like the pinnacle for me. That'll always be number one for so many reasons, which you can hear if you listen to our 35th anniversary episode with CJ Graham, Vinny Guastafaro, and Tom McLaughlin. A lot of the same could be said for Part 3 for me. I watched this movie so many times as a kid with my dad on basic cable. My dad passed away when I was 21, so I didn't really get to have many conversations with him as an adult. As I've gotten older and looked back, I can see how much my old man really loved horror movies, and especially how much he liked slasher and monster movies.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
People deride the series so much, but they don't understand there's no deep meaning to these movies. It's just pure fun, and that's exactly what we love about them. I remember my dad knowing part 3 was going to be on in a couple days, and he somehow got us these red and cyan 3D glasses so we could watch it in 3D on TV. And actually, I got a little choked up like writing this.
I understand that. Yeah.
A lot of people just don't understand how powerful these movies can be and all the memories they can leave. Just from a dumb, like, quote, dumb Friday the 13th sequel can bring back all those feelings.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us older millennials and Gen Xers, these movies just hold a special place in our hearts because of the emotions attached to them.
Yeah.
And yes, I know you're probably wondering, when am I going to get to what I like, what I dislike about it? There's really no need. Everyone knows who Jason is, especially if you're a regular listener. He transcends the genre and is pop culture.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it straight. I love everything about this movie. Honestly, I say that for pretty much all the Friday the 13th movies, up through Jason Takes Manhattan. Yes, I love that one too. My favorite kill has to be Andy.
Okay, the taint job.
Yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. I don't care if you don't think it's a 9. It's my list, my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
So grab your 3D glasses, sharpen your machetes. It's time to light up and dive into the lore. It's time for some Burn and Learn.
Oh.
Burn and learn.
Welcome to Burn and Learn, the segment of our show where we dive into the hidden facts and juicy trivia about the movie we're reviewing, the stuff you probably didn't already know. The house, barn, and even the lake were all built just for the movie. But here's the kicker. The man-made lake wasn't sealed right. By the first week of filming, all the water had drained straight into the ground. Talk about a Camp Crystal drain.
Yeah. This movie was a guinea pig for the Mark's 3D Pix 3D system, and man, was it a headache. The crew had to completely reshoot early scenes, like that convenience store opener, just to get the 3D to work. They even had to crank up the colors and lighting way brighter than normal just so it would show up properly in 3D.
And part 3 was the franchise's first trip out west for filming. Sure, the license plate said New Jersey, but if you're paying attention, you can spot a palm tree in the shot when they're picking up Vera. Definitely not the classic Camp Crystal Lake look.
And you alluded to this a little bit earlier. One of horror's luckiest wardrobe choices. Steve Miner and the team needed something scarier than the burlap sack from part 2. And the 3D effects guy, who happened to be a hockey fan, just happened to have a Detroit Red Wings goalie mask lying around. They test fitted it, resized it, threw it into a custom mold, added the red triangles, and just like that, Jason's hockey mask was born, an instant horror icon.
And a Reddit thread spotted a little neat Easter egg. The theme music in part 3 actually reworks the notes from part 1. That familiar melody sneaks in during the opening scene, hitting your ears just the right mix of nostalgia and creepiness.
And here's a fun nug. Friday the 13th Part 3 is the only film in the entire franchise where Jason's name is never actually spoken, not once. It's like he's so terrifying even the characters can't bring themselves to say it. And I did have one more that I told you I found out recently. Because they were doing it as the final chapter in the franchise, they were going to turn Jason into a serial rapist. And it was going to be a whole thing about trauma. But they decided it was too dark for the franchise, and it really is. It's
Thank
just
fucking Christ.
Yeah. And he didn't survive Jason, but he did survive the disco and the 3D headaches. Now it's our turn to pick his brain. Let's dive into our interview with David Katims. And today on High on Horror, we're stoked to welcome a very special guest. You know him as Chuck from Friday the 13th Part 3, the laid-back stoner whose vibes made him an instant fan favorite. We can't wait to spark up this conversation and dive into what it was like bringing Chuck to life. David, thank you for being High on Horror.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
And before we jump into some questions here, we have to thank a good friend of the show, Laura Marie Taylor, for actually getting us together for this interview.
Yeah.
Lovely woman.
She's such a darling.
And naturally, considering you play Chuck in part 3, we have to ask, do you like to partake?
I am a method actor. But well before I got cast in this film, yes, I partake.
Were you more of a smoker? Did you like edibles?
I grew up in California in the 70s. There were no real edibles unless you were talking about peyote or mushrooms, actual mushrooms, not gummies. So, no, I was a smoker. I was and am a smoker.
Well,
It's legal, and I live
wanted
in
to
Seattle, Washington, so it's legal here.
Awesome. Okay. Well, is that so like what was your favorite thing to do? What would you say your favorite thing to do is when you indulge?
When I indulge, well,
Yeah.
I love watching comedy.
Okay.
So when I lived in LA for 20 years, and friends of ours and myself refer to us as comedy whores. So we used to love to go to comedy clubs all the time. We're just searching for a laugh. Two comedy whores looking for a laugh. That's what it was. So in LA, I was an actor and never pursued stand-up comedy, but every actor has a desire to do it. They're just terrified. But when I moved up to Seattle, I did stand-up. I have 10 years of stand-up under my belt.
Oh, no kidding. All right, so you're a funny guy too.
I try.
Well, you were getting your degree in psychology from UCLA when you actually took up acting classes, and you saw it as a big challenge and just jumped right in. Is that kind of how you did that with comedy?
No. I was a aspiring comic down in LA, but I just never had the guts to try it. I'd go to clubs and I just never did an open mic or anything. So no, I've been laboring with the idea of comedy for a while. But when I moved up here, I didn't get to it right away. And then I thought of a 5-minute idea. And I thought, I'm going to take a comedy class. So I did. I took one. Culminated with a performance at Giggles Comedy Club in Seattle. And the club owner told me to come back next week, and that's all I needed. So,
Okay, that's great. Well, I wanted to ask you, what does your expertise in psychology tell you about people like John and I that are obsessed with horror movies?
I think that your pursuit and interest in this is completely healthy. I really do. I'm just answering honestly. Vicarious thrills. You're enjoying the fantasy of violence without actually getting arrested and going to jail for it. So everything's cool in fantasy. What your mind is in your mind is your business.
Right on. That's good to hear, isn't it, John? Very refreshing. I wanted to say, I know you're not a big horror fan, but you did watch. I wanted to ask you, did you watch the first 2 Friday films before filming 3, and did you finish the rest of the series after the 3rd one?
Oh, I'm going to just embarrass myself. No, still have not watched number 1, still have not watched number 2, and have not watched any of the others. It's not true to say that I don't like horror films. It's true to say that I'm not a big fan of slasher films, which is what I mean, of course. I don't love the blood and guts, but I love scary movies, love them. Movies like, in the past, movies like The Shining, completely terrifying, but no violence, really. And a movie like, more recently, Get Out, which again, psychological terror, but not violence.
Yeah, I get that. Like psychological and what's the word I'm looking for? Psychological and like supernatural horror. Yeah, that tends to work too. That's how my wife is. My wife doesn't like gore and slashers, but she'll like watch like a haunting movie or a possession movie or Get Out. But it's like something about slashers, just either it does something for you or it doesn't.
Yeah. And listen, I'm happy to provide. I'm glad I'm in it. I'm glad it makes people thrilled. If that's their thing, great. But it does shock fans. It shocks fans when they know that I haven't watched any of the series. So.
Well,
Oh well.
you're not honestly, you're okay. Ask John. We interview a lot of people from horror movies that are not fans of horror or haven't watched any movies before the ones they've done. It's like a common thing. That's why it's something we always ask, because we find it very intriguing. There's some people that are like super hardcore into horror, and then they get a role and they're like, yeah. And then there's other people that are like, I like horror, but it's just like it's just a gig for me. I'm not like obsessed with it or nothing like other people.
When I got the audition call, it wasn't called Friday the 13th. It was a movie called Crystal Japan, which is, I think, a David Bowie song. And in fact, all the things were Bowie songs that they came up with. But they early on weren't sure if they were going to go union or not. And if it was called Friday the 13th, and to admit that they weren't going union, that was a dicey thing, I guess, for them. So they just went under what they call a working title, Crystal Japan. And then midway through the casting process, they asked me if I'd be okay if they went union. I was union, so I was delighted. I said, yes, let's do this. So, anyway.
Well, okay, so for you listeners out there that don't know what barley is, it's a versatile cereal grain belonging to the grass family, known for its use in making food, animal feed, and beverages like beer and whiskey. The plant itself features dense spikes of grain, and its seeds are rich in fiber and nutrients. This is the disgusting shit that you had to eat, David, as the marijuana in the film. So I have to ask, have you ever eaten weed before out of desperation like in the film, or just for fun or anything like that?
Well, there is a scene where we're eating pot, and it's out of desperation because we think the cops are about to pull us over, which they don't. But what they used was barley. And it was disgusting. In the film, you see me spitting it out, and in real life, I was spitting it out. It was just horrible. In the smoking scenes, the first day of smoking, they used tobacco, and I'm not a cigarette smoker, so I told I can't inhale, I can't do this. They said, no worries, no worries. Their property guy was so efficient that he had gone to a health food store, gotten some kind of herbal cigarettes, not tobacco, but something, and it created smoke, but it didn't cause a harsh on my throat, so I could inhale and could do the scenes.
Well, did you ever have to, what I was referring to in my question was, like Chuck in the movie, have you ever eaten actual weed? You're on High on Horror. I have to ask these questions.
Sure. I ate cookies. I made cookies out of pot when in the 70s. Sure, I did. Yeah. And a very different high, a very long high compared to an hour and a half high, something like that. So, but yeah, I did that more than once as a growing teen.
And did you get to keep the bong that Chuck uses in the film? And did they put tobacco in that as well?
Whatever they used for the joints, they used in that. But no, I knew it. I thought there'd be a value in that bong, but they didn't let me have it.
And the 3D element's a big part of part 3. Do you remember any funny or frustrating moments trying to work around that technology?
Well, with other members of the cast, sure. For me, my 3D moments were not so difficult, like handing a joint into a camera, pretty easy. The popcorn scene, again, the camera's right here. That was pretty easy. So the difficult 3D moments certainly were when Catherine Parks gets a harpoon in the eye. That had to be set up, took a long time to set it up. And even the juggling that the Shelley and but Andy's the character, did that. I got to have a benefit of that because I'd be in my dressing room when we're at the trailer, and they'd have me there all day because they didn't have time to shoot my scene because these boys were trying to get that juggling right into the 3D camera. So to be very clear, I'm not the star of the show. Nobody is the star of the show. There's one star of this movie. It's 3D. That's where they spent their efforts, and everything was it took a long time to set up shots, but that had never been done for 20 years. That it was a state-of-the-art 3D technology, and that's where they put their efforts. As a matter of fact, when I auditioned for this film, they wanted me to use a Tommy Chong dialect, and so I came back and auditioned with 5 different actresses that were going to hopefully play my girlfriend. And throughout the whole process, I'm talking like, totally, dude, all right, yeah. Just like that, every time. Not until we got to the set where they had cast an actress I had never auditioned with. They say we're gonna drop the dialect, and I presume it's because she was not Hispanic and couldn't do a Hispanic dialect to save her life. I'm sure, but nice woman, but that's not how they went. So we went just normal.
Can you imagine how different the characters would have turned out if they spoke in a Spanish accent?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it would have been so funny because I think it would have been great if Jason fails to kill my character because I'm stoned and just oblivious to anything. So I take a hit, I trip over a log, I fall down, and axe goes flying by. He misses me a few times. I think that'd be funny.
Well, I wanted to ask you, you were just talking about your partner in the film, Chili, and I wanted to know, what was your chemistry like with Rachel Howard, and did you two spend any time together before or after filming?
Not after. Really, before, maybe a day before filming, she wanted to get together and run lines or something like that. I think I did that. I think I recall doing that. Rachel's a lovely woman, but no, there was no chemistry. The actress that I read with right before her was a Hispanic actress, was funny. I thought for sure they were going to cast her, but they didn't. So Rachel's pretty, and they tend to go with casting very pretty women in these films.
Fair enough. Well, I was going to say, on set every day, I understand that the crew would gamble, and one time you partook and won like $200, and back then, that was like $669.53 to be exact. That's what that was, like $200 nowadays. That's what it went for back then. And I wanted to know, have you ever gambled on any sets since?
I haven't gambled on any sets since. That's funny that you mentioned that. I know they must have crews that gamble, but no is the answer. And it was actually more money than you were told, I think. What happened is this is a game called AC Doocy. It's a match the pot game. So you put 10 people in the game. They each put in $2. Very friendly game. There's only $20 in the pot. No problem. Until someone makes a bet that doesn't work, and then he has to match the pot. Now there's $40 in the pot. Well, this pot went from $20 to $700 in the pot. And that was a cause for problem because Frank Mancuso Jr. was in the pot. He joined. He never did, but he did that day. I think Steve Miner, the director, was, and the first assistant director. They told me, we're late. We got to get back to the set. I said, we have the producer, we have the director, we have the first AD. These guys are at the set. We're not shooting anything. So I want my chance to win money out of this pot. And so he goes, ugh. So this pot, I ended up pulling $400 out of that pot.
Oh.
And Frank Mancuso, by coincidence, lost $400 in the game. We're walking back to, this is my favorite story in the whole movie, by the way, so you're getting it here. We're walking back to the set. Frank Mancuso provided the money for the film, and he was complaining on the walk up that he lost $400. And the production assistant said, you lost about $45,000 in production time. And Frank said, no, I lost $400 in that pot. That was more important to it. So he had to pay for both. But I laughed my head off. Why? No, you're crazy. You're a crazy rich person.
He just lost all around there.
Yeah. So he could afford it. His dad, I don't know if you know this, his dad was the president of Paramount Pictures at the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so he was fine.
Yeah, he was fine.
Huh?
He was fine losing that money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Here's the story, if you don't know it. Frank Mancuso Sr. gave his son $250,000 to seek his fortune in life, which is more than most of us get from our parents.
Yeah.
He invested in Friday the 13th 1 and made $50 million. Then he did 2, and I think that made $23 million. And then they did ours, and ours was $85 million. So he became, I think, wealthier than his dad with these films.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he did okay. Frank's did okay in life.
And do you have a favorite line or scene? My favorite line's always, this is heavy shit.
Well, yeah, and it's not, it's just heavy shit. What 2 words? That's all. And that's, my character is famous for those 2 words. That's what I write at conventions. I write that quote more than anything else. At the second to last convention I was at, I got brain dead, and I just wrote heavy shirt. And I go, okay, I can get you a different signature, or you have a quote nobody in this room has. He goes, I go with heavy shirt.
There you go.
I think I would too.
Yeah, me too. Those little special memories.
Sometimes they want me to write this quote. I'm not a big fan of writing this quote. It's, how come you never scream when we have sex? That I say to Chili. That's admitting that I'm a poor lover. I'm not really wanting to discuss this.
Yeah, that's not something I would ask you to write for sure. I think heavy shit.
Because her reply is, "Give me something to scream about, man." So
I would take heavy shirt over that one.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, man, everyone was sad in the film when Shelley died. And to be honest with you, look, I love the Friday the 13th series. I remember watching the first one when I used to live in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, with my mom. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Front door was open with the screen door closed, sunlight shining in, beautiful day. And I'm sitting on the couch, mortified, like terrified of this movie. I grew up with these movies. I love them, but I never cared for Shelley. I always thought that he was fucking annoying. Like to me personally, he always just annoyed the shit out of me. And it was like your death was the one that made me sad because you were the cool hippie dude not bothering anybody.
I like your attitude. I think you're onto something. Yeah, Shelley was annoying. He was a prankster. He's bothering people. So I didn't cry over his death, not at all.
And, I doubt anyone realized it at the time, but, even you yourself, but, and now I don't know if you've even realized it, but you're undeniably one of Jason's most recognized victims. Whenever someone mentions the victims of the series, a lot of people don't pay attention or care to any of them besides the final girl or her boyfriend if she has one. But everyone knows and remembers the stoner guy Chuck because everybody likes him and thinks he's funny. Nobody wanted him to die.
I love hearing that. Hey, years ago up here, I did comedy with Tommy Chong. And when I met him, I said, Tommy, before I was a comic, I was an actor and I ripped off your character. And he said, all right, dude. True story. And I will also tell you this. Never in my life have I been offered more pot after a show than that night. It was crazy. They wanted to get both Tommy and I high. So we obliged them.
Oh, shit. So you actually got to get high with Tommy Chong? That's awesome.
Well, yeah. He and a lot of comedy fans.
That's awesome. Wow, that's cool as shit. What a memory to have. So
it was unique. Never met him before since, so...
And you said this was at a stand-up show?
Yeah, I was doing stand-up at Giggles here. It's no longer called Giggles. It's now Laughs. But, yeah, I was doing comedy. And I was a pretty solid middle act. I had no desire to become a headliner because I had real jobs.
Yeah.
But I did want a middle. I did it for the love of the game. And I got to open for a lot of big guys, people like Jim Gaffigan and other Mitch Hedberg when he was alive. So that was when I was doing comedy biggest in Seattle.
Well, you had like a really good opening line because I think that if I were doing comedy or anything like that, and I saw somebody like Tommy Chong was up there with me or going to be up there on the same stage as me, I would be intimidated and be like, man, I want to come up to him, but what do I say to him? And you could just go, hey, man, I kind of like mocked your, the way you act for a movie. I stole the way you act and got a role from it. And like, that's a great way to like just get in and talk to somebody. So at least you had that, you know?
Oh yeah, no, we absolutely did. He's a very friendly guy. His wife is so, but his Tommy, great guy.
Well, here's something I wanted to ask you. Do you think that your death in the film, with the way that like everybody's so uptight nowadays and films are so safe, do you think that your death in the film today would be filmed safer instead of having to have everyone on set but you stand 20 feet away from the camera?
You know, the truth is, I make a joke out of that, but I think I was safe. I think everybody on the set was safe. They are very, very interested in safety on film sets. It's what can shut a film set down. So I felt no fear, but I don't mind that. He made that joke with me. That's fine. But.
And obviously, this is the first film Jason gets his trademark hockey mask, and at the time, it was impossible to know the cultural impact it would have. But did you think it looked cool, or did you have any first feelings about seeing it?
Well, yeah, I thought it looked cool, but yeah, you are right. None of the cast had any clue that this would become the icon of horror that it has become. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a Friday the 13th movie. If you see that hockey mask, you think horror. You know, it doesn't matter which horror, you just think horror. So nobody had a clue, but it was. What was your original question? I wanted to answer. I went Bray did.
Did you have any first thoughts about seeing it, or did you think?
Oh yeah.
Cool?
Okay, so that's just what I wanted to remember. First time on that I saw Richard Brooker on the set. Richard was the guy who played Jason in our film and is now passed away. But he's a tall guy. He was a tall guy, and he's walking on the set with the hockey mask, smoking a pipe. Going, Aaron, who am I going to kill now? I said, me, Richard, you're going to kill me. Thank you. So, yeah, it made an impression.
And Chuck's a character in the Friday the 13th video game, and he's a personal favorite character of mine for obvious reasons. Did you have any involvement with the game at all?
See, you actually were wrong. Chuck is not a character on the game. Mitch is a character.
Oh, Mitch, that's right.
A ripoff of my character. No, I wasn't involved in the game. They didn't pay me. They paid Larry, who played Shelley, but they didn't get me involved. So I have nothing but not great feelings for those guys.
Did they try to get in touch with you at all about it? Or?
No, they didn't. And they knew how because they cast Larry. Larry's a good friend. So
yeah,
they knew how.
Yeah, because Shelley's in it.
So they just said, we'll put Chuck in.
But I hear it's a good
Mitch.
Game, so good for the fans, but not so fond of the producers of the game.
And in Crystal Lake Memories, you were very candid about how you felt when you first saw Part 3. Looking back now with all the fan love for Chuck and the film's lasting place in the franchise, has your perspective changed over the years?
Remind me what my perspective was back then that I said.
I don't remember the direct quote, but I was in the book. Was saying that you said you couldn't believe that you actually went up and told him that it looked like shit.
Oh, no, I believed it. I know how I am. I don't shy away from dangerous comments, but I also did it because I knew it would be funny, and that's what I'm mostly about. I like telling jokes, so it did get a laugh, we just had no idea. One more time with the question, I lose my train of thought.
Has your perspective changed over the years?
No, if nothing else, I guess it's gotten even more grateful for the film. It's just become such a bonus in my life. This year alone, I went to London and I went to LA and I went to Monster Mania in New Jersey. These are great, big, fun events. So had I not been part of this film, I wouldn't get to enjoy this in the later part of my life. It's just been great. And my perspective on horror fans has completely changed. I used to think horror fans as crazy people, but because I wasn't a slasher fan, right? But now over the years, I've gotten to meet so many. And what I've learned is they are a unique group of people. They are family, and they are accepting of everybody's weird nuances in life. So for that alone, I love horror fans. The fact that they're encompassing and they are welcoming to people of all stripes. That's something that's not necessarily true of other fans. So, you couldn't necessarily say fans of violent action films, necessarily are welcoming people. They could be, they may not be. You just don't know. But horror fans definitely have been.
Yeah, I've been to Monster Mania conventions a lot, and I have a 2-year-old son, and I've brought him to, and all the cosplayers come up and interact with him and play with them, and he just loves it. He's not scared to go up to any of them.
No, nor should he be. Yeah, you're right. The cosplay is another element of these conventions that I just love. I definitely, as I'm signing autograph, come around the table and take pictures of people I want in my camera. So it's part of the fun of conventions.
And lastly, just wanted to ask you, what does being part of the Friday the 13th legacy mean to you personally?
Well, here's one more thing, which is my co-stars and I actually got along very well. And so Tracy, who played Debbie in the film, gets through the hammock. Her mother was an agent way back when. And her mother was my agent way back when. Also, Paul Kratka's agent, who played the lead in the film. So we knew Tracy before this film was ever made. So one of the nice things is throughout the years, I've gotten to enjoy spending time with Tracy. And of course, Larry and I have been friends from the get-go. So, it's just going out and doing some fun things that we all enjoy doing and telling these great stories. And we just never thought this reward would come, 45 years later. It's just great.
Well, going back to conventions, I wanted to ask, because, like John said, he's been to Monster Mania several times. That's the one that's most local to us. Like, we go to that one pretty frequently because it comes around a few times every year. And I just wanted to ask because, it's great that you're so receptive of the fans and the audience and how there's no judgment passed. Like you said, it's a family, and regardless of how weird you are, regardless of if you have like silver hair or one eye, it doesn't matter. Everybody's there for one reason. Everybody's like cool, and the vibe's always been awesome there. I have to imagine for someone like, that's not like huge into horror or hasn't been in 1,000 horror movies, going into a convention, probably there's some like, oh God, I don't know what to expect. And I think that a lot of fans break that trope because like once you meet us and you are there, it becomes this welcoming, like, hell yeah, I'd come back and do this again. And, it becomes like a fun thing where you realize it's not like horror fans kind of get looked at like the Satan worshippers of the 80s because they wore metal shirts. You kind of just get looked at as like the black sheep, but they're weird. But when you let us in, we're not so weird. And I wanted to ask if any fans ever gave you any gifts or anything or ever tried to like smoke you up at any conventions.
Oh, absolutely. They've given me pot at conventions. Absolutely. They're great people. I've gotten high with a couple of them. Yeah, absolutely. Just terrific. Oh, gosh. My mind is a sieve because I smoked too much pot through the years. But
I hear you.
Short-term memory. Just the very end of that, you had a question and I'm losing it.
You ever had any weed given to you?
Gifts and things. Yeah, and also the vendors that attend these shows, they give me things too. So I have a bobblehead doll, and it's my character he made for me. But he also does that for a living. He makes multiple characters, and I went to buy one from him, and he said, "No, I tell you what, you sign this one. You sign 2 of these, I'll give you this one for free." And that kind of thing happens often. They just want to play with you, and I think it's fantastic. So
if John and I ever see you at Monster Mania, will you smoke with us?
What about both of you?
If we ever see. Go ahead, John.
He was saying if we ever run into you at a Monster Mania, would you smoke with us?
Oh, Frick, yes. Yes, absolutely, I would. Yeah. By the way, just technically, your mic is. I keep leaning in because your mic is not loud. His is. So I don't know if that's something you want to address in the future, but that's why I keep leaning in. But yeah, no, I love getting high with fans, and I didn't bring it into this room, but I have one of those vape things, so they're very convenient at a convention because you can't go out and smoke joints, but you can walk out of doors, get a little vape, come back in, have fun. So,
Oh, yes, they're definitely convenient. And we want to thank you again for joining us today to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 3. And it's been a real pleasure.
well, thank you for your interest. Again, I'm so grateful for all of you, and I hope that you have. By the way, since we're talking about that, have you ever gotten Tommy Chong on this?
We have not.
Have you tried?
No.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, okay. I don't know him personally, and he is very involved as a pot billionaire, so he may be very difficult to get a hold of. But
yeah, I imagine he'd be a little hard to get a hold of.
I will tell you this favorite story, mixing Tommy and comedy. That he's married to a woman who handles the money for him and is a bit controlling, not so fun to encounter always. And she was at a club and she fancied herself as a comedian too, which she is not. And and so she was being snippy to the MC. And so the MC comes up, does his 5 minutes, and then he goes, "Okay, are you ready for comedy? Are you ready for the icon of pot? Are you ready for Tommy Chong?" And they're all, "Yeah." Well, first you got to suffer 5 minutes of his wife. Boom. Leaves the stage. So
Oh man.
I'll leave you with that.
Well, it's been a real pleasure getting to talk to you today.
Wait. I know you're ending it properly, and I keep talking. Here's one more.
Well, no, you're fine.
Okay, here's one more thing. I did address marijuana and the movie in my comedy routine, and I said before I was a comic, I was an actor, and I co-starred in Friday the 13th, Part 3. Because my agent called me up, she said, "You got the horror film." I said, "Great," because I'm a slut, She goes, "No, horror film." Oh, that's different. She goes, a horror film. I said, "I don't know about that." She goes, "They'll pay you $50,000. I said, "I took my morals, I rolled them up. I think I can handle the motivation." I'll leave you.
Yeah, I mean, that works for me.
Okay, that's me.
All right, thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks, David.
Have a good one, both of you.
All right, thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Thank you to David Katims for joining us today. And if for some reason you haven't seen Friday the 13th Part 3, watch that shit. You don't even got to watch Part 2.
Correct.
The first
standalone.
one.
You can watch them as standalones.
I was gonna say, what's it? 10 minutes? First 10 minutes?
5-10 minutes. They sum up the prior film.
Yeah. It's all really all you needed.
But I just realized something. After the interview, I realized we should have totally asked David if he could have gotten us a picture of Mary Jo Conrad.
Oh yeah.
Could have asked him. What'd she look like, man?
Maybe Chuck knew Mary Jo Conrad too.
Maybe she sold him his weed. Who knows?
Yeah. Damn. So she
him.
sells hot and she sells weed. I'm in.
We're just building up this fantasy of Mary Jo Conrad.
Yeah. Send us your thoughts on Mary Jo Conrad online. Follow us. We're like what did the Joker say in The Dark Knight? Like a dog chasing a car. We don't know if we caught one, so we don't know what's coming up next week. Follow us online. High on Horror 420, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I think I covered them.
Okay, make sure you email us at highonhorror420@gmail.com for your PPA questions.
Or send them on social media. We'll accept them there too. And guess how about wrap her up? Catch you later.